KZGN-TV, and this is Ridgecrest Talk. First thing I want to do is make a quick announcement. If you tuned in earlier to hear our news, we had some difficulties and it didn't get on, but the news will be rebroadcast in the morning at 9 o'clock, so be sure to catch it then. And today my guest is Nick Coy, and I'm going to let Nick tell us a little bit about himself. How did you get to Ridgecrest?
The wife and I, the kids came to Ridgecrest 30 years ago.
Yeah.
At that time, I was working for Kmart.
Oh, okay.
And, I was brought up here to work in the store that was on Norma Street.
The old one that was, yeah.
Yeah, it was on Norma Street at that time.
That's what it was when I got here, but not that far back.
Yeah, and I didn't stay with Kmart. When they moved into the new store, I went to work for what is now O'Reilly's. I think it was Craig and Auto Parts then.
Okay, so you've been here for a long time then.
Yeah.
You've always, but you were a veteran when you got here?
I was a veteran. I got out of service in 1971.
What service were you?
I was in Navy.
Navy, okay. What was your job?
I was a bosun's mate on the carrier.
Really? Oh yeah? Which carrier?
The USS Hancock, which is a World War II, or was a World War II
no kidding.
Carrier.
I never heard of that
one. And it was decommissioned in 1975.
My husband was on Kitty Hawk and Kennedy, but not that one. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it was one of the older ones, but it turned, when I was on board during my 4 years, it turned 25 years old.
Okay, that's about old for a
carrier. It was definitely, it was World War II, and
interesting.
It had quite a storied history, but that would take another show.
Yeah, I love it with the sea stories. One of these days we'll have a show just for sea stories. That could go on for a long time. I love that. Nick has always worked, as far as I know, with veterans and veterans' needs almost since you got here, haven't you?
Yeah, actually, I actually started when I got to working for Craigan's. That was about after being here about 5 years. I got started with the Vietnam Veterans of America.
Okay.
And from then on, it's been one group after another.
I remember way back, I don't remember how far back it was, we had a display of the miniature Vietnam Wall, and you were in charge of that, or at least helped with it, because I think that's where I met you.
Yeah, it's been, it was up here 4 times, and with each one of the times it was here, I was involved in it in some capacity.
That was fascinating to me to see it, because I've never been to D.C. to see the real one. So that was very interesting.
I realized a while back that I needed to give back to the other veterans, and to give back to those that didn't come home.
Yeah.
And keep that memory alive.
Very admirable of you to do that. We appreciate that. And so you started with local veterans associations, and that just sort of snowballed into some of the things you're doing today? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I spent 35 years in the retail industry.
Oh, okay.
And in 2011, due to some medical issues, I had to stop that. I couldn't continue on in that career. So at that point, it was, what am I going to do now? And, through
you got it.
Through some help, I was able to go back to school and take classes in human services.
Oh.
And which is what I wanted to do for many years, but was unable to because of my work schedule. And I just finished up school last semester. I still have a couple classes to take to get the actual degree, but I've got the certification now.
Okay.
In human services. And just before that, part of my classes was I was required to do a internship with a company, an agency, in town or out of town, didn't matter. And I called up friends at the Military Resource Center and asked them if I could intern with them. And he said, well, you'd have to come to Lancaster. And I said, well, if I come once a week, it's not a big deal.
Right.
So he said, okay. 5 weeks later, I was hired at part-time.
So your internship slipped
Yeah,
into
and I
a
finished
job.
up the internship, you know, being paid for it, but
Oh, that's great.
I'm still with them, working
Okay.
part-time.
And are they the ones that we're getting ready to have a stand down, which you're going to need to explain to me in a minute.
Okay.
But are they the ones that are doing that, or is it another group?
The group that's doing the stand down is a group that was formed 4 years ago at the request of then Mayor Ron Carter.
Okay.
The group was formed because he needed answers for his grandsons that were coming home from Afghanistan and Iraq. And they needed answers, and he didn't have the answers. So he asked a few of us to put this together, put together a group, and get him some answers. You know,
Okay.
so we founded the group because of that 4 years ago. It took about basically the first year to get organized, and then we planned the first stand down. We made that a priority because in order to find out what the veterans' needs were, we had to get the veterans together.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And you veterans don't have to be retired veterans, just those who have served. Is that
Right.
correct?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Any
Okay.
veteran, you know,
They just put time in with one of the military services.
that spent time military services. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter what services. You know, I mean, there is no specific.
They don't get special if you were Navy or special if you're Army.
No,
or you're just
it's all
veteran.
you're treated the same. We take care of in our group now. We've actually gone to a different level with it. Also, we added some things to it. We are the coordinators now for the honor flight in the Indian Wells Valley, which is
when they go send the folks back to Washington.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
takes the priority is World War II and veterans that are considered terminal.
Okay.
Then Korea, then Vietnam, and so on.
Hang on to that thought, because what we're going to do is go to a break here, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about that. What did you call that? The
honor flight.
Honor flight. We're going to go into the honor flight, and we'll talk a little bit more about stand down, and we'll be right back. Hi, you're back with Lois and Nick Coy, and we're talking about his work with veterans here in our valley. And presently, we were talking about what was it?
Honor flight.
The honor flights, and that has to do with veterans that are honored to go to Washington. And I know that Kevin McCarthy's involved in that with
Very
some of
much
those
so. Yeah, very much so.
congressmen. Tell me a little bit more about what we're doing here in the valley for.
Well, we find veterans that you know, World War II, like I say, is a priority, that have not been able to go to it previously.
To see the monument?
Their memorial, the World War II memorial. And we find out first if they're physically able to, because that generation is reaching a point now where it's critical.
They're not getting any younger.
They're not getting any younger, and we're losing them at a very high rate daily.
So it is good to honor them while they still can.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. For them, it's you know, like that last big hurrah. You know,
go back and revisit some of their youth.
Exactly,
things that
and they go with other ones that they're, you know, their comrades and their peers, and it's all one big group, and it's a beautiful thing to see. We went up to Bakersfield and to see them off when our group went in the spring.
Okay.
And there were so many that were on that flight.
There were about 30 or something.
Well, that
weren't
was
there?
more, that flight was large. There was more than that. There was
Was
like
it?
some 70
Oh wow! I
veterans
didn't
who were on
realize
that flight.
that.
It was a chartered flight that time.
Awesome.
And
That's great.
just prior to the flight, we had our stand down. We brought them down there and honored them at the stand down.
Oh.
And it was, well, they were just
in heaven.
They were in heaven just to have
That's
that much,
great.
that much recognition.
I think that's awesome, and I think it's great what you're doing for that. Now tell us a little bit about the stand down. What is the stand down?
Well, the stand down is the purpose of the stand down. First of all, is to bring together providers, which is anybody who has something to give to provide to a veteran. It may be as simple as just a little gift, or just just meeting with other ones and having a meal with them, because we do have breakfast, we do have lunch, and that's all free for the veterans and for the providers that come in.
What qualifications? How do they tell you? They just have their cards or something? Or?
Yeah, we don't really scrutinize it that much, but
Okay.
we do want to make sure that they're veterans that are coming in.
Okay.
But they come in and the tables are all set up. We'll have the VA there from both Sepulveda and from Loma Linda hospitals.
Oh, okay.
And they can go and talk to them. They can get registered, which is a prerequisite to being able to go to the hospital. You have to be registered, and then that helps them get set up for appointments that they might need, because they'll ask them, what do you want from the VA. And the veteran tells them that, and it all gets entered into the computer.
Do you find the veterans here are having problems with VA like some in the other towns? Are we better?
Well, the distance is the biggest problem.
Right.
And we're working on that too, through our group, trying to solve that problem in getting transportation, at least to the clinics, like one in Bakersfield. There's a clinic in Lancaster, a small clinic, and then there's another clinic in Victorville.
I had an employee who worked for me once, and he had an appointment, and he had to get a ride. He got down there and then said, oh, your appointment's not till next week. So then it had to all start. He had to go to L.A. So you got to watch that and be sure that they're on top of it, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's best to call ahead and verify when the appointment is. With my experience is that they send you a postcard.
He thought he had one, but
it
was an accidental one, probably.
Usually a week ahead of time.
Oh, that's good.
Reminding you.
Yeah.
But there are those things that
fall through the cracks.
Yeah. Well, I've had a couple times where had an appointment, and it was verified with a card, and the day before, the night before, I get a phone call. Oh, your appointment's been canceled because the doctor can't be there.
Oh dear. Well, I guess that happens.
And
yeah.
that does happen when you're halfway down there and you're not getting paid mileage.
But your stand down would help them with transportation if they needed it.
Well, we're working on that.
Okay.
That's still not something that we have been able to have much success with. We're trying. At the worst, we've talked about providing gas cards for those that don't have the gas to get down there. As long as they have transportation, and then that's part of the problem is many don't have transportation. So that's the one thing we're working on.
So you have this big event, and it's at Kermagee, is that correct?
Right.
And you have all these tables set up from various vendors who can give something to these men or women who have served. What are some of those services?
Well, like I said, the VA will be there. There'll be employers that are will be taking applications or resumes.
Okay.
We have that's been a big thing that we've increased that this year to have more employers there. One of the biggest ones was a real shock to us. They're coming all the way down from Fresno. It's the prison guards.
Oh yeah.
Prison corrections. Department of Corrections is coming down, and they said that their needs over the next 3 years is going to be 7,000 employees.
New.
New.
Oh my gosh. Well,
new
these
employees.
veterans could very probably
Yeah, and
have some training in that
They
area.
like to employ veterans because they already have,
Oh, that's wonderful.
a lot of the qualifications are already there. There's also another, the Riverside Sheriff's Department is coming, and they are looking for employees too.
I see.
So, you know, these people are traveling a distance.
Mm-hmm.
And
so that's good.
We really welcome them, you know, to come in and you know, support us on this.
And any local people that would need a possible employee, you would be welcome to.
Absolutely. And we've got them coming in from various other places. A lot of these, you know, suppliers or providers come in from Los Angeles area, so it's a good drive for them.
Yeah.
And our stand down is only 5 hours, but and we do that because they got to drive home, and it's on a Friday, and
right.
so we let, you know, we're out at 2 o'clock.
The hours are from what?
9 to 2.
9 to 2.
9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Okay.
Now, if we still have veterans, you know, in the building.
Hold that thought. We're just about through with this particular segment. Let's talk about that when we get back. We're going to go to break. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay. Back. It's Lois with Nick Coy again. We're talking about the stand down for veterans that will happen on September the 26th from 9 in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon at the Kerr-McGee Center. And tell me a little bit more about what's going to happen, who's going to be there, and that sort of thing.
Well, we're up to, I believe the number is 43
vendors?
Providers right now.
Oh, providers, you call them. Okay.
And we're sending out more invitations. We've sent out invitations to a lot of the contractors from the base that are on the base to see, you know, so we see if they have additional employee needs.
Mm-hmm.
We were down in California City yesterday, and there's a contingent from California City that's coming up. And we stopped at the Beacon solar plant, the new one they're building out there on 14.
Oh, yeah?
And dropped off an application to them. We're just trying everything.
That's
you know,
great.
It's everything. The windmill forum up in Tehachapi, they come down. It's I can't think of that name of them just yet.
I have a clue what their name is, but at least they're here.
They come down. You know, so we have a large array of vendors.
Possible employers.
Possible employers and providers that come in. Our local Legion, VFW, they'll be there with. The Legion usually has like a backpack with items in it that they might need, because we don't know who's going to come in there into the stand down and maybe be on the edge of being homeless or actually homeless.
Wow.
You know, there's the company I work for. That's one of the things that they do. Military Resource Center. Their primary is to get homeless housed. And those that are in jeopardy to keep them housed.
Okay.
You know, the one thing is it has to be like a rental situation. They can't do anything. We can't do anything if it's a house they're buying. We can't touch that.
Do you need any more local people, or are you pretty full with what you've got now for stand down? Or
we can still take more.
I know you've got things like barbers that'll come in and do haircuts and some of that sort of thing.
Yeah, what we have on that is we're going to be the Furnish Brothers.
Oh, okay.
They are giving us cards that we can hand out to the veterans if they need a haircut, and they'll go over to their shop and they'll do a haircut for free.
Oh, that's great.
They did that for us last year, and they just enjoy doing it, you know. And they've been around here. I was just over today, got a trim, and he was telling me how long they've been around. They lived in base housing when they first moved here.
That's a while back.
That's a while back.
I love it.
But you know, they're just great people there, and
we have a lot of really good people in this valley, and this is what I like to bring out.
We have a lot of people
willing to help out.
That donate from the valley here. Albertsons is donating food. Stater Brothers is donating food for lunch. Rocky and his wife down at Casey's, they're helping us out. They've been wonderful with the veterans for years.
That's great.
And we have a group from the Legion that's coming in to serve for lunch.
So they just
and there's
walk
a
by
bunch.
and
There's
hear.
a group from Grace Lutheran Church that's coming in to serve breakfast in the morning and cook it right there. So you know,
Can't beat that.
That's
awesome.
all free. You know, we get it donated, or we buy the food and people
somebody
come in
serves
and fix it.
That's
the
great.
nice thing about Kerr McGee Center. It's got a nice big kitchen there.
Yeah, that's true.
And
that's really good.
so we'll have good things going on. A lot of the suppliers will bring raffle prizes, and throughout the day, the veterans themselves, they get a wristband, and on that wristband is a number, and that's where we pick the numbers for the raffle prizes.
Oh, that's great.
And they just donate those raffle prizes. So
I love it.
you know, it's something to keep excitement going on. We'll have people there, escorts, have a small questionnaire sheet, and then we find out what their needs are, and the escorts will take them to these tables.
The particular one they think they need to be.
Right, right.
That's wonderful.
And if they just want to talk to employers, the employers will be in one section, and then the other ones will, you know, be in another section.
That's great.
The providers will be in another section of the room.
Well, it's certainly something that I think is needed, and particularly needed here because, like you said, we're so remote from some of the services
Absolutely.
that a lot of veterans can get a hold of.
Now,
and I know some of the things that you are doing, you have mentioned to me that you're trying to help or locate homeless.
Right. That's my job, the part-time job that I have, is to locate homeless, which at this time, you know, thanks to God, we don't have a big problem here.
That's good.
You go down to Lancaster Palmdale, and there it's huge.
Are they in your area?
Well,
Lancaster?
that's where our main office is at,
Okay.
for Military Resource Center.
But Ridgecrest doesn't have that, you know of, much homeless.
There are people that are homeless, but they're not veterans, but there's not a large population that I've been able to find. And you know, even those that aren't veterans, if I run into a homeless person, I'm going to try and get them some help. You know, just simply because, first of all, they're a human being,
right?
And they need the help. So there are things on the horizon that we're looking into to try and get some other services in here. The VA is doing some work with Kevin McCarthy to get some services for the veterans here in the Valley, where they can get just, you know, the simple things. They've got a cold or something, they can go see a doctor here in town and get, you know, a prescription there. Naturally, anything major is going to still have to go down to Loma Linda or Sepulveda, but some of the small things, they don't have to travel so far.
That would be so great if they could just pop over to the doctor and get it, and that would be good.
And like I say, there are some other things that are on the horizon that are in the talks right now. They can't really reveal a lot about yet because they're not finalized.
Okay.
You know,
now, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you for the stand down or for the others, do you have an email or something that we could give them?
They can call me at. They can call it myself or my wife at 760-608-1484 is my number, or my wife at 760-608-9251.
Okay.
And she's doing all the gathering.
She's helping bookkeeping type.
She's doing all the
background.
gathering of the providers.
I love it.
And she's been doing all the mailings for that.
Okay.
You know,
well, I really appreciate all this information. And folks, if you want to help, then you've got the number, and Nick will be glad to have you call. I just want to remind you folks that we had technical problems earlier today, and our news did not get on the air, but it will be aired early, well, not early, at 9 o'clock in the morning. Depends on when you get up, I guess, if it's early or not. But you should be able to see today's news tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. I really appreciate you being here. It's been very nice and very knowledgeable stuff you've got.
I appreciate that. It's the first time that we've had an opportunity to be on